want to acknowledge our city and county council and our state legislators who are in attendance. Governor Gary Herbert was unable to be here, but sent a letter which reads in part, "During this year's festivities commemorating Logan's 150th anniversary, I offer on behalf of all Utah residents our warm congratulations for your remarkable accomplishments during the past century and a half, and best wishes for your continued success throughout the coming years. Tonight, I'm especially pleased and honored to recognize two groups of special people. The first group is our 7 living past Logan City mayors. Apparently, the job is very, very good for longevity. Mayors, will you please stand? And let me recognize you by name. Ted Perry, Walter Nickel, Newell Daines, Russ Felstead, Darla Clark, Doug Thompson, and Randy Watts. Thank you so much for your service. I really am honored to be part of that group. The second group is our oldest living residents, and we have 4 here tonight. Will the 4 of you stand while I read your names and we recognize you? Lucy Ellis, Leander Maurice Hansey, Lavon Grant Hansen, and Bonna Lou Daniels Pack Carden. Thanks to all of you for coming tonight and representing Logan's heritage. I have to tell you a very short story about Lucy Ellis because she's family. Lucy turned 100 last August, and 3 years ago, she stopped mowing her own lawn. And the reason was because her lawnmower broke. It's a true story. I'm not making that up. My wife leaned over to me during the music and said the city founders would have been proud. I think the city founders would have been proud, but they would have also been astonished if they could see what Logan has become 150 years later. Elder Gary E. Stevenson was named to the Quorum of 12 Apostles of the LDS Church on October the 3rd, 2015. He was serving as the presiding bishop of the church at the time of his call to the 12, a position which he had held since April 2012. He was called to the First Quorum of the 70 in 2008 and served as president of the Asia North area. Elder Stevenson received a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from Utah State University. He co-founded Icon Health and Fitness Incorporated, where he served as president and chief operating officer until 2008. He was also involved in civic activities and served on boards and advisory councils. Elder Stevenson was raised in Cache Valley, and he's married to Lisa Jean Higley. And incidentally, as we had the opportunity to get to know her this afternoon, she's so gracious and delightful. We had a wonderful experience getting to know her. They're the parents of 4 sons, one of whom, Kyle, is here tonight. Elder Stevenson, thank you so much. We're looking forward to hearing your message.
Well, thank you, Mayor Petersen, and the former mayors of Logan City also, as well as the patriarchs and matriarchs of Logan City. It really is a privilege for me to be with you this evening and participate in this Sesquicentennial celebration program for Logan. And I think before we go further tonight, we'll speak of many things that make our community a community, elements that enhance our quality of life. And in that same breath, shouldn't we mention the American Festival Chorus and Orchestra, the Westminster Bell Choir, as one of those quality life enhancers. And tonight, I think, listening to them, it's probably appropriate to say the Tabernacle Choir as well. So thank you, Craig Jessup, and to each of you as well. As Mayor Petersen indicated remarkably, today is the 150th birthday of Logan City. I read from the Territory of Utah Legislative Record. The city of Logan was incorporated on January 17, 1866 by the Governor and Territorial Legislative Assembly. The charter defined the city's boundaries and outlined the municipal government elections and meetings. Alvin Crockett was elected as the first mayor. And so I consider it an honor to be able to express and represent past and present residents of Logan City with thoughts and remarks centered around this great city and community. I express my personal love for the people and the place. Now, as I've prepared these remarks, I've consulted friends, family, and acquaintances, and former city officials. May I extend my thanks to them and for the material that they have offered. Historians with a particular interest in Logan include Ray Sommers, George Ellsworth, Leonard Arrington, A.J. Simmons, Ken Godfrey, Darren Smith, and others who have contributed greatly in keeping our collective memories of Logan alive. If you ever see books or CDs or other things that are authored by them, I would encourage you to buy them, because this provides avenues of future production from them and other historians. Now, Winston Churchill stated, "The farther backward you can look, the farther forward you are likely to see." Well, tonight is the first of a number of events to be held this year commemorating 150 years of what is Logan. And tonight it's my opportunity to lead a journey to look backward with the hope that it does give clear vision looking forward. If we were to ask former and present residents of Logan to conjure in their mind a single image that best personifies what is Logan in Cache Valley, I think the great majority of us would have the same picture painted in our minds. It's almost iconic to us. And apparently it was for the first settlers of Logan as well. In the summer of 1855, five men were assigned by Brigham Young, led by Peter Mon, to explore the valley on horseback. And we read, early in September, with their families and others who had joined them, they re-entered the valley, seeing it for the first time in its autumn splendor. It is reported that Mary Ann Mon, the wife of Peter, exclaimed, "Oh, what a beautiful valley." Now, they had just come from Tooele, so it was especially beautiful to them. We, of course, relate to the scene which caused her exclamation. In fact, we see it over and over and never tire of it as we round the last curve of the highway coming out of Sardine Canyon, welcomed by that familiar spectacle. Remarkably, regardless of season or time of day, the first reaction of Mary Ann Mon endures today. "Oh!" exclamation point, "what a beautiful valley." And as our eyes are drawn on the Logan Temple, Old Main, and the top of this building, the historic Tabernacle, "What a beautiful city!" exclamation point. So, do you have this image in your mind now? Can all of you see it as you come around that curve out of Sardine Canyon? If you do, it will be useful. I'd actually like to use that image as if it were being painted before us, brushstroke by brushstroke, beginning from a blank canvas. Let's use the people and the places that comprise the history of Logan and our collective memories as the paint on the palette to complete each brushstroke. So here's a couple of ideas of the brushstrokes of memories that contribute to the collective image I describe. Think of this: the introduction of private phone lines to replace party phone lines. Before that time, every phone began with SK2 or Skyline 2. Or do you remember the 1962 earthquake that shook all of us out of bed? The old junior high sustained some damage that morning, and eventually a new junior high was built to replace the unstable old one. And so I have organized brushstrokes into categories. Now, in doing this, I know that I'll miss some names, some events and people that should be mentioned, and for this I apologize. But let's begin with the brushstrokes of the founding families. A recent article was written by Charles McCollum, the managing editor of the Herald Journal. The first paragraph of this article was comprised solely of names. I'll read them to you quickly. Godfrey, Mon, Daines, Pitcher, Tyre, Butters, Rick, Sorensen, Parkinson, Balls, Gittins, Parker, Spackman, Hansey, Reeder, Pertz, Hunsaker, Nielsen, Jessup, Merrill, Miller, Jorgensen, Lishman, Monk, Olson, Siemens, Polson, Rasmussen, Weeks, Bingham, Christensen, Beckstead, Bodley, Lowe, Weston, Zollinger, Ballard, and Crookston. Did I get everyone in the room? This list was followed by his observation of what all of you sitting here likely already know. These are the big family names in Cache Valley, and most of their roots can be traced back to the first 4 decades of the settlement of Cache Valley. Almost all of them go back to Mormon pioneers. He observed another thing. He said this: another thing related to these big families that is somewhat unique to Cache Valley in Utah, people here have an uncommonly strong respect and reverence for their ancestors. Their pioneer past seems to be very much alive, and the names of ancestors who crossed the plains are kept very close to the people's hearts. Indeed, this seems to be one of our unique cultural brushstrokes. Sometimes, in fact, we almost feel like we own it. Yet, over 2,000 years ago, Roman statesman Cicero stated, "To be ignorant of what occurred before you were born is to remain always a child. For what is the worth of human life unless it is woven into the life of our ancestors by the records of history?" So, we pay homage to the foundation of these great founding families that came before us, and we recognize that we are building upon the foundation ourselves with generations of our families that will follow us. The next brushstrokes that I'd like to look at are the brushstrokes of commerce. When Logan City was incorporated in 1866, already in place were some commercial buildings and businesses that included blacksmith shops, hotels, mills, and tanneries. In the course of 150 years, we have observed a remarkable evolution in every aspect of business. Now, our memories harken back to many of the early businesses in our time, which comprised the Logan Commercial District. Some of these exist, while others, sadly, are gone. Here are some of the names: Wilkinson's Office Supply, Smith's Printing, Al's Bike Shop, Cook Transportation, Everton's, Yates Coal, Logan Cold Storage. We observe the changing nature of retail as well as we recall Skanky's, Gerber's, Templeview Market, Island Market, Low Cost Drug, the Army Navy Store. Do you remember the great Christmas sales that occurred at State Hardware, and the after Christmas sales that occurred at State Hardware and State Wallpaper? The Logan Motel, and counting the sheep at the Baugh Motel. Logan Laundry had a steam whistle. Every day at noon, someone pulled the cord. Logan Savings and Loan played the Carolyn Bells. We had specialty and general merchants like Keith O'Brien, Ross Kelly's, Woolworth's, Low Cost Drug, Sunset Sports, and Grand Central. The J.C. Penney's bulk candy counter, and the sound of M&Ms dropping on the metal scale. Many of the established, almost historical names continue today. The Cater Shop, the Sportsman, Ellis Equipment, S.E. Needham's, middle of the block, sign of the clock. Thompson Electric, Anderson Seed and Feed, Wilson Motor, and Levin's, the friendly store for men and boys. Closely aligned are the brushstrokes of diners, cafes, drive-ins, and restaurants. That almost sounds like a TV program. Glauser's Restaurant and Frederico's, Pete Spudnuts, the Royal Bakery and its renowned spice cookies, Ironport at the Bluebird Marble Soda Fountain, and chocolates from the Bluebird Chocolate Factory. The Wingett's Drive-In on the south end of town and Steed's Dairy Bar on the north became bookends for many who dragged Main Street. The off-Main Street location of the TikTok Drive-In was offset by a cinnamon bear stuck on every mug. The spinning counter stools at Tidwell's made the hamburger and fries taste even better. And the favorite and nutritious lunch fare of hundreds of Logan High School students, Twinkies and Pop at the Hostess Bakery. What are some of the brushstrokes of our culture, art, and entertainment? Well, our early settlers loved to socialize, dance, and witness theatrical productions. Public dances in the beginning were conducted under the leadership of the Sunday school. People gathered at the schoolhouse or at a private home at, quote, early candlelight and danced until 10 o'clock when a recess was called to stop for food. After recess, dancing continued, sometimes until almost morning. The Logan Brass Band and a Tabernacle Choir were formed at the turn of the century. The Logan Opera House, a dream of the Thatcher family, was the most imposing structure in the city, save the temple, tabernacle, and courthouse. Sadly, in 1912, this structure was destroyed by fire. But just a decade later, the Capitol Theater was constructed on property that was then the backyard of the Moses Thatcher Mansion. A significant brushstroke for our community occurred when Michael Ballum approached the City Council with a vision to restore the Capitol Theater to its former glory, rather than let it be demolished to become a downtown parking facility. Utah State University has added greatly in every way to Logan City, including our cultural awareness. Musicals, plays, symphonies, concerts, and operas sponsored by the university have entertained hundreds of thousands over the years. The George Nelson Fieldhouse and the Kent Concert Hall became familiar venues. Even the Logan roller rink with the roller rhapsodies and the hokey pokey also shoehorned their way into our entertainment sensibility. What about sports and recreation? What are those brushstrokes? As citizens of Logan, we recreated where we lived. Black tire inner tubes never made it to the dump in Logan. Rather, their life was extended for use in the winter on Temple Hill for a time, and then on Old Main Hill, and for the daring on Devil's Alley, the steepest hill in the city, half a block north of Temple Hill. The same tubes were used to float canals in the summer, often beginning up Logan Canyon and winding down through the golf course and beyond. As winter settled in, with its frigid temperatures, the Central Park ice rink came to life. Everyone, it seemed, with ice skates slung over their shoulders, congregated from morning until night, warming themselves in the hut. The Brigham Young College baseball team may have been the first organized team in the valley in the 1890s, and they fought for a place to play. Worthington Field, the Smart Gym, the George Nelson Fieldhouse, Romney Stadium, and the Spectrum evoke a multitude of sports memories. Now, the game experience on the bleachers behind the chain link end court fencing in the old field house could only be rivaled by the steep concrete balcony and the seats at the old boys' gym at Logan High. The Huddle Club in the north end zone bleacher seats of the old Romney Stadium was opposite the south end of the field where the tunnel was located that teams came through to play on the field. Numerous Aggie teams of numerous sports have brought fame and pride to us often. The all-century USU football team, named in 2000, included luminaries like Merlin Olson, Len Rohde, Lavelle Edwards, Rulon Jones, Lionel Aldridge, Ralph Maughan, Nog Hansen, and Dave Caressa. Names in every sport deserve to be mentioned, but time does not permit. Of course, the tragic and untimely death of consensus All-American Wayne Estes, number 33, on February 8, 1965, the night following a game where he scored 48 points and scored the magic 2,000th career point, is an unforgettable brushstroke in our community history. What about our brushstrokes of public service? Tonight we honor our former mayors. 37 mayors have served since Mayor Crockett in 1866. The living mayors were kind enough to send me thoughts and memories of their administration and time in office. Their memories and recollections were laced with references to city budget surpluses and deficits, the Logan Transit District, the Logan River Golf Course, power delivery to Logan residents, sanitary collection systems and sewage disposal, culinary water, valley-wide recycling, beautification projects, and transportation corridor planning, the Ellen Eccles Theater, and fire, police, and ambulance protection. They also universally included a love for the city and the people. Public service in elected roles is often thankless and plagued with difficulties and challenges. Criticism often takes on a personal tone. Decisions hailed by some are scorned by others. So with that in mind, we extend again our appreciation for all 37 mayors that served and recognize those that are here tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you. What are our brushstrokes of religious leaders and our religious life? Early religious leaders and buildings had significant impact on the city and its residents. Moses Thatcher lived here and was a member of the 12 Apostles. William Preston, one of the first bishops in Logan, became a presiding bishop over 4 wards in Cache Valley and eventually the presiding bishop of the church. Charles Nibley also became the presiding bishop and a member of the First Presidency. Indeed, the construction of the Logan Temple and its dedication in May of 1884, as well as the construction of this tabernacle and numerous ward meeting houses for weekly worship, was a physical manifestation of faith and devotion of its adherents. This, of course, was not confined just to the Mormon population. Bishop Daniel S. Tuttle of Montana was on the first passenger train to arrive in Logan in January of 1873. In February, he opened the first Episcopal church in Logan. This was the first church other than the LDS churches that had been built in Logan. The Reverend Calvin Park came from Washington, D.C. to establish the first local Presbyterian church in 1878. 1 year later, he erected a new church and school, the New Jersey Academy, at the present location of the Presbyterian Church on Center Street. In 1889, the Trinity Methodist Church and School was dedicated by Reverend Martins L. Nelson. In more recent history, we remember the service of Monsignor Jerome Stoffel of the Catholic Church, who served in Logan for over 30 years from 1947 to 1997. As a member of the Logan Chanteurs, I was one of hundreds who over many years benefited from the invitation of Reverend Minor Bruner of the Presbyterian Church to perform annually at one of his services. For many Chanteurs, not of the Presbyterian faith, this was a first for them to attend a service of another denomination. And so there have been and continue to be a multitude of bishops, pastors, fathers, and stake presidents of a multitude of denominations who provide a vital ecclesiastical role in building the moral compass of youth, ministering in spiritual and temporal needs of their respective flocks, and contributing to the spirituality of our community. Indeed, this can be counted as beautiful and essential brushstrokes in the painting of our picture. Well, this exercise has been an attempt to paint just a portion of this beautiful scene we enjoy whenever we enter Cache Valley. It is a scene that we hope to preserve for generations that will follow us. Our history informs us. Author Michael Crichton said, "If you don't know history, then you don't know anything. You are a leaf that doesn't know it is part of a tree." This history is what leads me now to my concluding premise. I maintain that we in Logan enjoy a sense of community that is distinct, one that sets us apart from other communities. In fact, with admitted bias, it sets us apart from most communities. As I have pondered the basis for this, I have concluded that it has to do with your hearts. Let me explain. Communities, cities, municipalities rely on the government to assure justice. That is the equal distribution of benefits and burdens. No one person has the right to speed more than another. All citizens contribute their fair share for services: garbage, sewer, police protection, power. Laws and regulations exist, and a means to enforce them so that justice is served does as well. Dr. Daniel Marks, a Jewish scholar, recently described, "We are all born with God-given, inalienable natural rights. We have laws to protect those rights, such as the right to life, liberty, and property, and it is the government's job to step in when we are unfairly deprived. The family cannot survive if everyone stands on his rights all the time. There can be no family life without mercy." I believe that our community life in Logan is enhanced because the principles of love, mercy, compassion, understanding that are taught in our homes are taught in our homes and to other members of our families. And I think these spill over in the way that we treat each other in our community in a measurable and disproportionate way. That there is not always a cry that this is unfair. Dr. Mark calls this trait the family ethic in society. A culture in which people are inclined to relinquish their rights for the common good and not only stand on their rights for their own good. Now, I think we have this family ethic in our community in spades in Logan. Who can forget the carrying of the Olympic torch ceremony through Cache Valley, culminating in the USU Spectrum? The last torch to be brought into the Spectrum was not a political leader, an educator, or prominent business person, but our beloved Brent Carpenter, known by his decked-out bike and constant greeting and smile. I think it takes considerable effort for us to keep this in our community. For this reason, I continue to believe that the family and stable families are the greatest contributors to promoting the family ethic in society. So how do we assure this community dynamic will exist 50 years from now at the bicentennial celebration of Logan, which will likely be celebrated again in this building? Some of us will attend and many of us won't. We strengthen our families, we remain connected with our history, and we promote community. This begins in small steps, in the way we live, in the way we treat others. Perhaps it is as basic as the words of Jesus Christ, to love thy neighbor as thyself. So with that as inspiration, let me leave with you counsel from a former church president, Howard W. Hunter, which to me is both inspired and inspiring. It is practical advice that will lead to this sense of community of which we've been speaking tonight. Individual brushstrokes that will add to the beauty of the painting we hope to nurture and promulgate. Mend a quarrel. Seek out a forgotten friend. Dismiss suspicion and replace it with trust. Write a letter. Give a soft answer. Encourage youth. Keep a promise. Forgo a grudge. Forgive an enemy. Apologize. Try to understand. Examine your demands on others. Think first of someone else. Be kind, be gentle. Laugh a little more. Express your gratitude. Welcome a stranger. Speak your love and then speak it again. Now, as I've been standing here, we've received a text. And this text is the announcement of the most recent resident of Logan. Her name is Riverly, R-I-V-E-R-L-Y, Riverly May Nielsen, born this afternoon. And so we have Sister Ellis at 100 years and a new baby, Riverly May Nielsen, born this afternoon. May we each always remember that we stand on the shoulders of the generations that came before us, generations past, and that we also must bear the weight of the generations hence. Thank you.
Elder Stevenson, thank you for helping us to celebrate the 150th birthday of our hometown. Clearly, he took this opportunity very seriously, and we appreciate having him with us. Lisa, could I ask you to come to the lectern just a moment? Thank you so much for sharing your husband with us and being your family.
My pleasure. I get the easy part. Thank you.
We're not quite done. We have 3 wonderful musical numbers.